Hi and welcome to the channel. My name is Anna Maria and this is the 9th episode I'm doing in the series about the witch trials. And in this episode I will talk about France. I will link to other episodes down below. I would like to remind everyone that the witch trials were brutal. And some themes that I will take up can be distressing, especially when it comes to the sentences and the punishments for the accused. So a warning for the episode. France didn't have any national laws when it came to witchcraft, so the local courts had to decide themselves in the witch trials. And this could lead to a lot of difference in the verdicts between the different regions in the country. There is hardly any documents left from some areas and poorly documented in others. And the reason for that could be that the trials went through the local courts and not through a national court. So we don't know exactly how many died during this time. From the 14th century, the Parliament of Paris was in charge here, and all the local trials were under their jurisdiction. And this had an effect on the witch trials. Around 100 death sentences were carried out between 1568 and 1625, and that is quite a few death sentences if you compare to other countries and regions. The Parliament of Paris didn't follow any other country, and they also put up rules and regulations already in 1588. And these rules said that you couldn't be too hard in the witch trials. That meant that they didn't stand for any exaggerations or that people just blamed anyone for the sake of it. But the local courts didn't care about these rules, and sometimes they didn't even bother to bring up a case in front of the Parliament of Paris. But we don't know how many cases that were kept in the dark. In 1624, the Parliament of Paris seems to have noticed this, and they brought in a new law that said that the local trials had to go through them. But some of the cases still were kept from them though. Starting here with the Navarra witch hunt that was in 1609. This one was started by King Henry IV of France, or known also as King Henry III of Navarra. The man in charge of this hunt was called Pierre de Lancret, and he was a judge. He also wrote books about Satan, witches, incest and adultery. And he was not a man that took this subject lightly. In this witch hunt, 70 people were executed for witchcraft, but this wasn't enough for Pierre. He estimated that around 3,000 witches were in the area and they needed to be executed as well. He went so far in his mind that in the end he was ousted from the whole thing and wasn't allowed to manage the witch trials anymore. Some of the things he attributed to being a witch was dancing in an inappropriate manner, keeping toads and lizards, and eating too much. There was also cases of demonic possessions in the Aix-en-Provence area in 1611. Here it was the case of Father Louis Gaufridi that was said to have a pact with the devil. He was tortured to the point that his bones got dislocated. He was then executed by strangulation and then burnt. The last woman that got executed was in 1678. But there are a difference in opinion here, because some believe that the affair of the poisons should be counted as a witch trial, and some people think it shouldn't. The last trials where men were executed was in Lyon between 1743 and 1745, where 14 men got executed. They were being accused for having a pact with the devil, and using witchcraft and sorcery to become richer. Some of them were hanged and then burnt, one of them, a priest, were burnt alive, and others were executed in other ways. Some of the other men involved were forced to be galley slaves, and some of the women involved were forced to leave France forever. The last ever trial was in 1768, but that woman only got a fine and nothing more. And that was all for this episode about the witch trials in France. In the next episode I will talk about Norway. If you like this episode, please like, comment and subscribe, and don't forget the notifications, and I will see you in the next one.